on Wednesday. Jeff Van Gundy, our biggest fan. I think the Van Gundys love the Sixers so much. Just hearing them talk about us, it's a breath of fresh air to hearing them talk about the Sixers. It's awful. I was debating on putting that game on mute at some point. So Jeff
Stan's worse than Jeff.
I don't know, man. The way Jeff was speaking about is that throughout that entire game, it was just like, I think he might have overtaken one of Stan's worst games as far as calling our games. That was pretty rough. And that's unlike Jeff to be on our ass like that. But oh well. But he did have an interesting nugget during that game. He talked about a stat saying the teams that have shot 50% or higher have lost about 23% of their games this season. Something close to that. It was in the 20s. So Teja ran some numbers for me, did a deep dive into the Sixers games. So in games we've shot 50% or higher, we are 28-4. Out of those 32 games, we allowed the other team to shoot 50% or more 18 times. And in games where we've allowed 50% and shot under 50%, we are 4-6. So my question to you guys is kind of general comment. Why are teams losing so many games while shooting 50% or more? Does it just speak to how bad defenses are right now in the NBA? Or for us, does it mean we just need to shoot 50%, then we win?
Well, I mean, I think that leaves out a lot. And when I say I think it leaves out a lot, because it just gives you the percentages. It doesn't give you teams getting offensive rebounds and having way more attempts. It doesn't give you teams just having high amount of turnovers and having fewer attempts. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't give you how often someone gets to the free throw line and able to convert them. So those are just different ways that teams can shoot well and still lose. Giving up offensive rebounds, turning the ball over, putting teams on the line. So I think that those three things, if you really look at it, you'll probably see that teams are really affected in one or two or three of those areas when they lose those games. And also, you're shooting the percentage, they could be giving up a lot of 3-point shots too.
Yep.
In that percentage. So I would like to see all of those numbers and see if the percentages or the win percentages, how they shake out. But I do believe that, it's easy to say those numbers without the context of the different things that can happen in the game.
Yeah, that's fair. Teja, were you shocked by those numbers when Van Gundy? Because that was one of the things you texted me about when Van Gundy had mentioned that on the telecast. Like,
I thought that was pretty interesting because I didn't really pick up on that during the season. I mean, I know we've had some crazy, crazy high-scoring games. So when he said it, I was like, man, we've had some games where it's been like 150 to 148 or something. Like, we've had some really high-scoring games. That's why I kind of just did that. I started diving into comparing it to previous seasons because I'm like, how does it compare to history of the NBA? So field goal percentage is up from last season, almost 1.5 percentage points. It's the highest field goal percentage since 1990. Huh. So field goal percentage is up in general. It's at 47.5 overall across the board. The most free throws made per game since 2010. And it's the highest I just saw this. It's the highest free throw percentage ever.
Really? That's kind of surprising, actually.
Ever. 78.2%. It is surprising. I thought it'd be like, and yeah, that's pretty crazy. It's the highest ever. Actually, the highest three percentages are this year, last year, and the year before.
Oh wow! So it just keeps going up every year.
Yeah. And then it kind of gets a little random after that. But yeah, the highest percentage of all time. I'm not sure what it is, honestly. Does it speak to the defense? Does it speak to the amount of fouls that are being called and they're hitting free throws? If it is the most free throws in 13 years and the most highest 3% percentage of all time.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to take it's the other context that isn't mentioned, that I think that some of those numbers will come down. Those win percentages or loss percentages will come down, go up or down based on adding some other statistics offensively that I know impact those numbers. Turnovers and offensive rebounds and getting to the line will impact those numbers. I've seen teams shoot well from the field and lose because of those three.
Mm-hmm.
You shooting the 50%, but the other team shoots 12 to 15 more shots than you.
Yep.
And gets to the line, 15 or 10 to 15 times more. Look how many more points that is. That's how you lose a game.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is something I thought they were trying to work on that with, an emphasis on offensive players foul baiting and putting themselves in awkward positions in order to get offensive fouls. I thought they were trying to combat that.
I mean, they have, but I don't think it's been as much baiting as I think it's just guys are just good at creating fouls. I mean, people have been complaining about Joel going to the line all year. Every time I listen to another broadcast, I watch games and I try to listen to the other team's broadcasts just to kind of hear what they got to say, and they're just like complaining about him getting fouled every game.
Yeah, yeah.
So
it's also the highest offensive rating all time as well.
And the defensive rating can't be the highest either.
Yeah, it's probably a combination of both, right? It's that offenses can't miss; they're getting fouled a lot, and defenses are playing poorly. It's like a perfect storm, man. And it's like 2.5 points higher. Like the other ones are all kind of bunched up together, right? But like it's 2.5 points higher than any other season before. It's pretty crazy. Again, last 3 seasons have been the highest, which is really weird. It's like what's going on in the last 3 years? You've had a record amount of guys. It's funny too because when did they make the whole emphasis? It was 2 years ago, right? The whole point of emphasis on like foul baiting. That was like 2 years ago, right? It was after the Hawks series.
No, I think it was this past offseason. I think it was
this past offseason.
Yeah. Okay, so they saw it and they were like, okay, what's going on here? Like it's been an offensive explosion, the most free throws the last 3 years. We got to do something. I mean, whatever they did didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think the league really minds a lot of scoring. They just mind a lot of stopping and long lasting games.
Mm-hmm.
Is what they don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Sacramento and Clippers game is the way the league wants to go. What do you
5 overtime play to the next morning?
I mean, just it's they want a game that's gonna move and get people to keep people's attention. Yes,
but see,
different in the playoffs.
Letting them play that whole thing. If you let them play, that's letting the defense get physical with you, right?
Not necessarily let them play. It's and we talked about this before when I was saying that I felt the league has a talent referee issue.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think that comes into play because there's some things you can do as a referee to keep the game flowing by talking guys through situations or telling them, hey, if you don't A, B, or C, I'm gonna have to make that call.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's ways to kind of keep the game flowing. I'm not sure, like I said, I'm not in the game anymore. I just know that a lot of the veteran referees that were in there for 15, 20 years when I was doing it, they're all gone.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Just to say simple math, but when we shoot under 50%, we're 22-22.
Yeah, interesting.
So if we shoot under in the playoffs, if we shoot under 50%, it's a toss up. If we win or not.
Yeah.
And if we go
but you gotta, if you take care of the ball and you rebound,
yeah,
you can get some stops. Like you still give yourself a chance to win.
And hit your threes.
Yeah, I mean the field goal percentage, but if you win the turnover and rebound game, you still have a chance.
Yeah.
This makes a lot of sense as to why we've given up such massive leads too, because we let teams shoot 58, 60% against us for 3 quarters, and then we just turn it on, and then we score. We just we don't stop them, but we should score at a faster rate the rest of the game. But yeah, it's pretty crazy the amount of games. I mean, that we've scored 50 and the other team scored 50. Just bad, bad defense, good offense all the way around. But there you go. If you're watching a game and you see the percentages we're shooting 50% or higher, then we have a really, really good shot of winning that game. So,
yeah, on the referee, on the official stuff, one of my buddies, Eric, he's a referee in the DMV, so he refs high school games, DC, Maryland, Virginia. He loved the segment on the referees officials. He said Eric knows his stuff, man. Which I was like, of course he does.
That's cool.
But he said that Scott Foster, because Scott Foster was he's a DMV guy, and he said Scott Foster had a reputation. He said he's talked to a lot of the old head guys here. He said Foster had a reputation of being arrogant when he was coming up in DC. So
that's what I said. I told you. Very good referee. Very good. I thought he was very good, but he is. I found him to come off as arrogant, and you can't talk to him.
Yeah.
Just
yeah. He said he's known
to all the referees that I had in my career. I felt he was the hardest to talk to. That's saying a lot.
Yeah.
Steve Javie was easier than him. Joey Crawford, Bennett, all them old heads, all them older guys that we knew didn't take no mess. I could talk to them more than I could talk to Scott Foster.
Mm-hmm. That's funny.
Scott Foster to me always looked like a cop who pulled you over for some stupid reason, and you could not reason with him. You could not. You'd be like, dude, but that I was not doing that. They're just like, nah, here, man. Here's your license, and you're like, all right, fine, just give me a ticket. He's one of those, man.
Scott not giving you no break. You getting the ticket.
You not getting a break. No warning. Doesn't matter if you're going to the hospital for your pregnant wife.
Yeah, you getting the ticket.
Doesn't matter if you're late for work and you're getting fired. You are getting the ticket.
Yeah.
They're going to make you wait for it, too.
Mm-hmm. Better call your work. Tell them you're going to be late.
Yeah, you better tell them you're going to be late.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, because he said with all the older guys there, he said that coming up, he was really arrogant, but he was regarded as a basketball genius in the area.
Look, I said he's a good referee.
Yeah,
he is. And I thought he was fair. Like, I didn't think he was a bias or anything. I thought he was fair, a really good referee. I just thought you just couldn't talk to him. Like, he's just arrogant. Like, my call is the right call. No. Like, any other referee would kind of explain or talk. I'm like, this. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess
the only one I couldn't even have a conversation with. I'm saying, when I say I couldn't have a conversation with him, I'm not talking about before the game when you talk to him like I could not talk to him. I'm saying strictly during the game.
Yeah.
Not as a person, like, away from the game. I'm saying during the game.
Was he one of those, like,
well, make that clear, like, during the game you can't talk to him.
Like, if you asked for explanation, like, why is that a foul? He just wouldn't listen to answer.
Just any kind of, yeah. So I would be like, well, Scott, I'm a captain. I can ask you a question. Well, I'm not trying to hear you right now, Eric. Like that, like responses like that. Like, dude, like, I can ask you a question. But not right now. It's like you just act, and like, dude, just calm down. Like I'm not trying to argue with you. Like that would be an interaction with him. So to give you an example of Joey Crawford, Joey, baby, Eric, not right now. Give me a little bit. We can have a conversation. Or, okay, well, no, calm down. Don't give me all your hands. Just come over here and say what you have to say. You see what I'm like? That's the difference. Steve Javie. Yes, Eric. What'd you say? Okay, gotcha. And then walk away. Like, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
Scott was like more confrontational, or it's like, it's your fault and you shouldn't be talking to me. Like, that's how he came off in games.
Really? Like, not getting eye contact, like when you're trying to talk
that way. He was like, wait, what was that? What was that?
Yeah, it was like I always felt like he was the only referee I felt like if I say anything, he wanted to give me a technical.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't a guy that was known to go get technicals like that. So it's a reason why. Like, if I'm not a guy that's getting technicals every game, it's a reason why I'm not getting them.
Right.
Because I know how to talk to you guys and I'm respectful. So for me not to be able to talk to you and feel like I'm captive, like, this dude's a blank head. Like,
he wanted to give you that speeding ticket, dude. That was it.
He basically wanted to give me the ticket, and he wasn't trying to hear any talk.
No, he wanted to hit that quota.
Yeah, he was giving that ticket up.